session. Please note the meeting is being audio recorded. My name is John Holman, Chair of the Commission. I will be running tonight's meeting. We are your volunteer representatives appointed by the county council person or county executive and entrusted to monitor renovations and additions to our Baltimore County historic resources. We review and approve nominations to the Baltimore County preliminary landmarks list and comment on National Register nominations. Additionally, we are charged with evaluating submissions to the Baltimore County Historic Tax Credit Program that encourages the appropriate maintenance and renovation of designated historic properties. Would the commissioners please introduce themselves by name and county council district or representation? We can go in the order listed on the PowerPoint screen.
Lily Mundroff, District 1.
Chris isn't here. Is Wendy with us yet?
She is not.
Okay, Daniel?
Daniel Dean, District 5.
Phoebe?
Phoebe Evans Latosha, executive appointment.
Is Jamie with us?
Jamie Ferguson, executive appointment.
Thank you, Jamie.
Scott Holupka, planning board representative.
Ed Horde, executive appointment.
Chris Parts, executive appointment.
Vince?
Tom Liebel, executive appointment.
Yeah, and Vince, there you go, unmuted. Introduce yourself.
Vince Johnson, executive appointment.
Great, thank you. And now we will stand to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to
the flag
of the United States of America, to the
Republic
republic which stands
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Landmarks Preservation Commission operates under the authority, standards, and requirements of Title VII, Article 32 of the Baltimore County Code. We refer to the United States Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation as administered by the National Park Service. This is the accepted national standard for historic preservation projects. Our own Baltimore County Historic Preservation Design Guidelines directly reference and incorporate the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation. We have important preservation issues to discuss and debate at each meeting. If you would like to make comments, please limit your comments to the specific application or proposal submission being reviewed. We ask for your assistance and understanding so that discussions do not digress. As an additional comment, we can all agree that historic preservation is an important aspect of the quality of life and place that makes Baltimore County unique. As a commission, we seek to recommend significant buildings and places for landmark consideration to the County Council for their final vote. As commissioners, we serve on the commission due to our expertise, interest, and passion for historic buildings and places, and review submissions based solely on their merits. While we may disagree in discussion and voting, we continue to be a collegial body that respects each other personally and professionally. Staff reminders of virtual meetings or?
Sure. So just a reminder to those who are attending from the public, for offering testimony. Members of the public have opportunities to submit written testimony or to sign up to speak at tonight's meeting with staff prior. For those who signed up, we will announce your name and unmute you at the appropriate time. And those who have submitted written testimony, that would have been circulated to the commission before the meeting. Owners, applicants, and any project representatives do not need to sign up. You guys are given time to speak at the appropriate time. Also, in addition, the LPC's commissioners receive a packet of all application materials 1 week prior to meeting in order to review it and to prepare for tonight's meeting. The information presented in this PowerPoint is merely a summary just to keep the meeting moving in an organized manner.
Good. Thank you, Caitlin. Any changes to today's agenda?
Yes, one change was made yesterday. The application for the Hefter property at 101 Brightside Avenue in Pikesville was withdrawn. This project regarded a roof-mounted solar installation, and the applicant withdrew.
Okay, good. Well, we'll hope to see them in September, maybe. Good. Well, then the next order of business is the consent, the minutes, I'm sorry. Any proposed changes or corrections to the minutes for the last meeting, the June 13th meeting? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move that we approve.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. So voice vote is sufficient for this. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes, and we move on to the consent agenda. Jessica, you want to walk us through those?
Great. First, we have the Garmin property located at 120 Central Avenue in Glendon, County Council District Number 4. This is a contributing resource within the Glendon County Historic District, and the applicants have proposed the installation of a 12 by 16 foot shed construction to be placed in the rear yard. Next, we have agenda item number 6. The McAvoy property at 1711 Kurtz Avenue in Lutherville, County Council District Number 3. This is a contributing resource within the Lutherville County Historic District, and the applicants have proposed a gravel driveway expansion, and the commission received a letter from the Lutherville Historic Advisory Commission concerning this project. Okay. Next, we have agenda item number 7, the Shelton property located at 4801 Butler Road in Glendon, County Council District Number 4. This is a contributing resource within the Glendon County Historic District, and the applicants have proposed the installation of aluminum fencing around the side and rear yards. And this project did receive one written testimony in opposition earlier today. And then finally, we have the Peters property, agenda item number 8 at 500 Upland Road in Sudbrook Park, County Council District Number 2. This is a contributing resource within, this is a non-contributing resource within the Sudbrook Park County Historic District, but the Part 2 approval concerns the garage associated with 705 Cliveden Road, and the applicant is looking for Part 2 approval for the in-kind asphalt garage roof replacement. And that's all on the consent.
Good, thank you. Commissioners, any items on that list that you wish to have further discussion on and pulled from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I ask.
I have a question. I think because there was some concern on agenda item number 7, the expansion of the driveway, we should probably pull that out and just give a chance to discuss that a little bit more.
Okay. Okay, we will do that. And then, so we are voting on 3 consent items.
No, the 7
No,
was
4.
the fence, not the driveway.
I think it got
Yeah, the slides are mixed up. Sorry.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
yeah,
Sorry
because
about
it-
that.
I was looking on the I guess the OneDrive or
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
once number 6 withdrew. we
Yeah.
had to-
Okay.
So it's
Well,
the
sorry.
Lutherville one because 2 of them had opposition letters. The fence on
So the fencing
in Glendon.
yes, that is for the aluminum installation, which is within our design guidelines that
Okay.
is permitted. But yeah, we're free to discuss it, but it was placed on the consent agenda because it met the design guidelines.
Yeah, I mean, I have no objection to the fence one. I just wanted to clarify which one Lily was talking about. It sounds like it was the driveway one in Lutherville.
Yes,
Yeah,
the driveway one in Lutherville, yes.
Right, the Richard Borman house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so we will pull that from the consent agenda.
I have a question. Did we talk about number 4, the Baird property?
No, that's not on the consent agenda.
That's not a consent. We're just, so we'll have 3 on the consent, and 1 back on the regular agenda. So may I have a motion to approve the revised consent agenda?
Move that we approve the revised consent agenda.
Thank you, Chris. And a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Thanks, Scott. I think we probably need to do a roll call vote for this, right, Jessica?
Sure. Could I have Scott, please?
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Phoebe,
Yes.
Vince,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Chris Parks,
Yes.
and John, please.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. So now we will start into the regular agenda and start with the Baird property, I believe, right, Jessica?
Alrighty. So, agenda item number 4, Baird property at 200 Central Avenue in Glendon, County Council District number 4. This is a contributing resource within the Glendon County Historic District. And the applicant has proposed both a historic review for the detached garage replacement with a new driveway and existing fence removal, as well as tax credit part 2 approval for the installation of a new HVAC system. The property at 200 Central Avenue is a 2-story frame and clapboard dwelling constructed prior to 1898 with a side addition constructed in 1932. The applicant is requesting a historic review for several projects to the property and is seeking a tax credit part 2 approval for an HVAC installation. Following work items are for historic review. Work item number 1, garage. The applicant is requesting to demolish the existing 10 by 20 foot garage located on the southeast corner of the property. The applicant believes that the garage is contemporary with the 1930s addition. However, staff believes that it is older than the 1930s. The existing board and batten garage has an asphalt gabled roof. The north rear gable end is clad with clapboard. The existing roof is asphalt shingle. However, photos from the applicant may indicate that the shingles overlay an earlier sheet metal roof. The application describes severe rot and insect damage to the exterior, as well as structural issues that are beyond repair. No detailed photos showing the extent of the rot or insect damage were submitted. After the removal of the existing garage, the applicant proposes to construct a new 12 by 32 foot garage / storage space in a similar location set back from the existing location. The new garage will be 10 feet from the rear north property line and 2.5 feet from the east property line. The new garage will be a prefabricated design and constructed on site. A new concrete base will be poured. The garage will be 1 story with a rectangular footprint and gable roof. It will be clad in hardy lap siding with a gaff architectural shingle roof. The garage door that will be facing toward the driveway will be a carriage style with windows on the top. On the elevation that will face toward the house, there will be a set of carriage style doors with strap hinges and a single leaf door of a similar style. In addition, the applicant requests to extend the existing asphalt driveway 12 by 32 feet along the southeast side yard to meet the new proposed garage. Staff would like to note that the existing garage structure is consistent with mid to late 19th century plank construction smokehouses found throughout the mid-Atlantic. The interior photos submitted by the applicant show a series of collar beams with nails and S-hooks that would have been used to hang and dry meat. Modifying secondary structures like smokehouses for new uses was not uncommon in the early 20th century. Exterior and interior images of contemporary smokehouses from Montgomery County, Maryland, Washington County, Maryland, and Kent County, Delaware have been included in the LPC's meeting materials packet. In addition, from the photos submitted, it is difficult to tell if the structure is deteriorated beyond repair. Staff recommends that if the condition or age can't be determined at the meeting, that a technical committee be formed to conduct a site visit, along with staff to assess the condition and age. Our guidelines state that small accessory structures should not be removed or altered, and that they must be maintained through in-kind replacements of deteriorated sections, which would be a tax credit eligible project. For work item 2, is for the removal of all wood fencing to be removed from the property, and no new fencing is proposed at this time. And finally, the tax credit eligible project, work item 3, for the new HVAC installation. The applicant wishes to install a new Unico air handler and coil HVAC system to cool the home. An outdoor condenser unit will be placed in the rear elevation. So possible motions for the commission are listed, and staff recommends that the LPC discuss the age and condition of the existing structure, and if a visit from the technical committee is needed, to schedule a site visit. Citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 6, New Constructions, Additions, and Non-Contributing Structures, and Chapter 7, Fences and Landscapes, County Code Section 11-2-201 and 32-7-405.
Thank you, Jessica. Is the owner here with us to speak on behalf of their
Let's see.
application?
I have a look through our attendees. Mr. Baird, I have you unmuted if you'd like to address the commission.
Oh, there I am. Okay. Yeah, this is James Baird. Yeah, I'll take whatever direction you get for what appears to be a garage. I was told by the inspector that I shouldn't even go inside it because it looks like it's about ready to fall over. But if it needs to be repaired, that's fine. I'm just looking to be able to put my car somewhere.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Baird. Commissioners, questions, thoughts?
Well, I think if maybe we should do a technical committee to review it to see if it's repairable. It appears from the photographs that it's looks like a late 1800s smokehouse. So I think I would hate to see that resource lost. But I think we maybe ought to check the state of it. I mean, from the photographs, it does not look like it's deteriorated that bad. And I know my daughter had a barn that she restored that had, a fair amount of termite damage, but, it wasn't that crazy a deal to make the repairs and to bring it back and have it a useful structure.
Thank you. Any other commissioners' comments?
So John, can we move to approve the AC and the fence removal and then have a technical committee take a look at the garage that would allow them to move ahead with 2 pieces?
If you put a period at the end of that instead of a question mark, I think that's a great motion.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have a second for it?
I'll second.
Thank you, Scott. So, any further discussion? Now that we have a motion seconded, hearing none, can we do a roll call vote, please, Jessica?
Sure. Before we do, I just want to say to Mr. Baird, our staff will get in touch with you about the next steps.
Okay.
I'll have Scott, please.
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Phoebe,
Yes.
Vince,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Chris Parts,
Yes.
and John, please.
Yes.
Great.
And Jessica and Caitlin, should we go ahead and establish the technical committee right now, or do you want to do that later through emails?
We can do either. If there's anyone that's interested, if they know they're interested right now, you let us know. If not, we can also do this by email if we don't want to waste
Yeah,
any time.
I'm
We can move on.
interested. You can put me down for this
Okay.
one. So, okay, and then anyone else, you can either put it in chat or email, and we'll go from there. Does that sound
That sounds good.
good? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and then we can move along to agenda item number 7, the Shelton property that was pulled from the
Right.
consent agenda.
Okay, now I gotta go back.
The drive.
Yep. So okay. That's right. I think is this the Butler Road or the Kurtz Avenue? I'm
Kurtz
sorry.
Avenue.
Avenue.
Okay, I see.
It's the
Sorry.
Richard Borneman.
A little mixed
house.
up here.
You need to get the Shelton property. This is the Borman house.
Yeah, no, this is the correct picture.
Okay, so let's
I
see.
thought we were going to talk about oh, maybe I'm incorrect.
This is the driveway one.
The driveway is
Mhm.
driveway
Driveway
is in
extension.
Lizardville.
Yep.
Yeah, so the all right, so the property at 1711 Kurtz Avenue in Lutherville, County Council District Number 3. It's a contributing resource within Lutherville County Historic District. And we are discussing the gravel driveway expansion. The property is a 2.5-story grout wall construction with a tin standing seam roof that was built in 1864 in the Downing Vogue cottage style. Staff would like to note that an identical property at 305 North Avenue is located on an adjacent parcel directly north of 1711 Kurtz Avenue. The applicants wish to extend a portion of the existing gravel driveway to make room for 2-vehicle parking and to allow the owners to reach their front entry without walking through the grass. The current driveway is laid diagonally across the property and opens to Kurtz Ave to the west and to Frankie Ave on the east. And a Google aerial image was provided. The applicant requests to expand the northern portion of the driveway that approaches toward the house on the Frankie Avenue side. And this will extend 20 feet by 75 feet to reach the front entry and will use the same gravel fill as the existing driveway. Additionally, a dead tree will be removed to make room for the expansion, but staff would like to note that tree removal is not within the purview of the LPC. So we're citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 7, Fences and Landscape, County Code Section 32-7-405.
And do we have the owner with us?
Let me take a look. I don't see the applicant with us.
Okay. And so have we heard from the community association?
Yeah, a letter in opposition was circulated, I believe yesterday.
But was it from just someone in the community or from the community association?
Yeah, it was
It was from the Lutherville Advisory Committee, which technically isn't. It's separate from the official.
Got it.
So they're a community within the neighborhood that.
And their concerns? What were their concerns?
They had some questions about how the gravel will be laid down, if there's any like grading. There's some questions with runoff.
There is a parking pad
And
at the front of the property, and I guess they're they would like to maybe see sort of a plan because it's really just marked on so there's no clear site plan for the driveway, and I guess maybe cautioning as to what does this mean once it really gets installed. It would be nice to have a plan to understand it better.
Yeah, it seems like they also were mentioning too. I mean, the application looked like they were replacing it with gravel.
I'm sorry, Dan, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me a little better now?
Yeah,
Yes,
sure
yes.
can.
Okay, I moved a little closer here. It also seemed like they had questions. It seemed like in the application they were replacing it with gravel as well. I mean, it looks logical, especially for somebody, if anybody elderly lived there, walking across the grass to get to your front door rather than when you don't have a sidewalk there. It's just extending it up to the door. What was mentioned in the letter was that where you'd circled that yellow, it looks almost like a cutout. I work in Lutherville, so I actually had the opportunity. I just drove down Kurtz Avenue the other day as I was leaving work, but it looks like it's just kind of a cut in. So, you know, I see why it was on the consent agenda. The stuff mentioned in the letter isn't necessarily in the application. The application looks like it's just for expanding this driveway a little bit out and then closer to the door with the removal of the tree. So it makes sense it would be a consent agenda item, whereas the letter mentioned other aspects such as the runoff. And I could see their concern as far as wanting a plan in there, but it seemed clear in the application, at least to me.
So commissioners, they have an existing gravel driveway. They want to extend it. In terms of runoff, depending on the gravel, there should be hopefully some absorption within that.
Gravel would be better than like a impervious surface
Yeah,
runoff.
I would assume. So how do we want to approach it? We can ask them to come back and bring more detailed information, or we can.
It is, and so putting a gravel driveway is within our purview. That's considered something that's.
I think it's pretty clear. I don't think they're addressing the part on that little parking pad on Kurtz Avenue at all.
Yeah.
It's just an extension of that driveway up, and they show where it's going. I don't see a big deal with it, but I don't understand why it's on
If they were paving, if they were putting in a paved driveway, we probably would have asked for a more site plan to see for that. But since it's gravel, it's going to be the same material.
You can even argue that gravel is reversible, so
yeah,
it's a
it's
minimal
that
impact.
borderline. Is this landscaping or hardscaping project?
Yeah, pretty clear what they're doing. I mean, it's and the other part is that the letter addresses on Kurtz is not something that they're asking for. If they want to do that, they need to come back to us for that.
Yeah. So I'm sensing kind of a consensus developing. Does somebody want to put that into a motion?
I guess I just wanted to raise a question, which is, and I understand, I mean, in terms of permitting or planning, when you are dealing with a new curb cut, you have to provide plans to the county for that. I understand. My question was, I was concerned that this extension will eventually connect to the other side, and if that's the longer term plan, is allowing this as a first phase going to, you know, turn into another thing, second phase. So just understanding, why isn't there just a plan provided to understand what the site is doing and where, you know, where it's going with this? That's all. I just wanted to see that plan.
Could we go back to that prior drawing that had the plan, it was a dotted line and it showed it. Go back to that one. I think that
it looks like it's a spur and not a connection. Yeah.
It's just, there is an existing, the white line, the white road you see is the existing gravel drive through the property. But there's a little pad there that you see on the right is a spur off of that drive. And what they're asking for is just to take that spur up to the house.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
think
so to your point though, Lily, should they choose to connect that to the Kurtz Avenue parking pad, they would need to come back through us, and we would get another bite of the apple in terms of whether we thought it was appropriate or not at that point. But
if they have a curb cut, I think they're going to need to go through Public Works.
yeah, they have curb cuts, two curb cuts, as Dan noted. There's one up where there's a parking pad, but their driveway goes all the way through, block to block as
Yeah,
well.
that side of Kurtz Avenue, there is no curb, like a
Yeah,
concrete curb. It's
Mhm.
just asphalt road, and then it goes to grass. So like anybody could pull off to the side and park, and if there's space in the grass. And I don't think there's actually a lot of space from where that little parking pad is to, because there's dense vegetation, and
right.
I think there's
Right.
like a patio or something. So I
Yeah,
don't.
that would be a larger project, I think.
Is the little parking pad that the Lutherville folks were concerned about, is that on the Kurtz Avenue side or the other?
It's on
What?
the Frankie Avenue.
Oh, the Frankie Avenue
So
side.
it's-
Oh, okay.
It's right here. You can see the little car. It's just like a pull off.
Yeah.
Is that Frankie or Kurtz?
This
Kurt.
is Frankie Kurtz over here, and it's one way, so that's why
Oh,
they
okay.
probably have this.
Oh, okay.
This is
Okay.
one way going this way, and this is one way going this way.
Okay.
And the only concern that I would have is that it's indicating it's a 20-foot wide by 75-foot long path, which 20 feet wide is considerably wider than what you see there now. It would allow them to park two cars side by side for, you could stack in, 8 cars or whatever in that location, or 6 cars in that location. So it just seems like it's maybe a little bit wider than it should necessarily be. But
if they had 2 cars, to be able to pull both cars up to the house or either car up if one spouse
yes, right.
groceries would be a nice thing to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
I believe that was noted in the application that they wanted to fit 2
It
cars
was.
in there. Yeah.
Yes.
And I believe there's a lot of vegetation too on that road, so it wouldn't be very visible.
No, it's not
Frankly,
visible. No.
I think there's like bamboo too. I don't know if that side had bamboo.
I don't think it does anything negative to the historic nature of the house.
Yeah.
Agree.
So may one of you put it in form of a motion to approve?
I'll toss out the motion to approve as is.
Thank you. So Scott was that Scott or Tom? I'm sorry.
Dan.
That was Dan.
Oh, it was Dan. Dan, I'm sorry. So the staff recommendation, essentially, we're accepting the staff recommendation. And do we have a second to that?
Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Scott. So Jessica, could we do a roll call, please?
We have Scott, please.
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Phoebe,
Yes.
Vince,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Lily,
No.
Tom,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
and John, please.
Yes. Yes.
Great, thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item 9, Prospect Hill Cemetery.
May I interject at this point?
Yes.
And just tell the commissioners, I am recusing myself because I am on the board of directors of Prospect Hill Cemetery. So it's a conflict for me to be chairing the meeting and voting on it. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to Ed, and I'm going to go silent. And I wish you all a happy August, and I will see you in September. Thank you.
Great, thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. All right, staff, do you want to give your summary of this item?
So the applicants have proposed entrance enhancements and improvements to Prospect Hill Cemetery. The cemetery was developed in 1891 on the former Ridgely Chew estate Many notable local judges, attorneys, and business figures are interred here. It was placed on final landmarks list in 1991. The applicant is requesting to make some improvements and enhancements to the cemetery's entrance located on York Road to increase pedestrian and vehicular visibility. The existing cemetery entry consists of an asphalt drive with concrete curbs flanked by large hedges at either side that surround the perimeter, creating a park-like setting. The existing sign for the cemetery is located in front of the hedges on the western side of the entrance on York Road. It is made entirely of wood and is painted green, gold, and white. The following work is proposed. Work will include the removal of approximately 12 to 20 feet of the existing 420 feet hedge on either side of the York Road to accommodate the new entrance improvements. The proposed entrance improvements will include the following on both sides of the access road. A stone veneer 20-inch low retaining / planting wall will be set back 8 feet from the public sidewalk and curb. It will run parallel to the sidewalk for 8 feet and 3 inches, and then will turn slightly back toward the cemetery for another 7 feet, 7 inches, creating a 145-degree angle. There will be decorative plantings and flower beds behind it, and about 3 feet behind the low wall will be a 6 foot by 4 foot plinth surmounted with a 9 foot obelisk and planting urn. From the plinth base, there will be a 12-foot section of another low stone veneer wall, which will be used as for the new signage for the cemetery. The pinned metal letters affixed to the low wall on either side of the driveway. Behind the new entrance feature and sign, 24 feet of iron fencing with a 6-foot height is proposed. The fencing will run into the existing hedging. The existing entrance drive will remain the same width. Improvements will be made from the existing sidewalk. About 30 to 37 feet of existing asphalt and curbs will be removed. From the first 8 feet from the sidewalk to the first low stone veneer wall, we'll have interlocking concrete pavers. 9 feet and 5 inches from the low stone wall to the fence line will have scored concrete. And from the fence line going into the cemetery, about 15 to 20 feet will be interlocking concrete pavers. Steps are proposed on either side of the paved driveway through Prospect Hill Cemetery, would increase accessibility to foot traffic in these sections. The steps will have simple iron handrails and will be made of blue stone to reflect the local stone and masonry character already present in the grave monuments in Prospect Hill Cemetery. Staff asked the LPC to clarify the material of the low walls. The application mentions brick while the plans show a stone veneer material capped with a bluestone cap. In addition, staff asked the LPC to confirm what type of stone veneer or brick will be used and what type of scored concrete design and style will be used. So again, staff recommendation to the LPC is to clarify the proposed materials for the project and then determine if the request meets our design guidelines, then to approve, modify, or deny accordingly, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 5, Porches and Steps, and Chapter 6, New Construction, Additions, and Non-Contributing Structures, County Code Section 32-4-7-405.
Thank you, Jessica. Do we have anyone from the cemetery that wants to present or talk?
Yes. We have Miss Barnes, the project representative. Miss Barnes, you're unmuted if you'd like to say anything.
Hi, actually, I think Lydia Kimball from our
great.
board of directors is here, and she will most likely speak.
Sure, I'll have you both unmuted.
Thank you.
Miss Kimball, I have you unmuted.
Muted?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Thanks for this opportunity. Again, I'm Lydia Kimball. I'm a landscape architect, and I'm also on the board, the property committee for Prospect Hill, and was the coordinator for the concept design that you're seeing here. Our landscape architect consultant is Warren Timlin of WT Squared Landscape Architecture. I think a few of you may know Warren and his work. So I'm happy to answer the questions first. I'm also happy to give a little bit more detail on our kind of our goals and our perspectives of those goals. Do you want me to do that first or answer your direct questions first? I'm happy to do either one. Do you have a preference?
Either one, I think. If
okay.
I mean, we do have some questions on seemed to be a conflict as to what the veneer material was. Was it stone or brick?
Yeah, it's intended to be a stone veneer.
Okay.
So
What type of stone?
Bluestone, probably. Again, these are concept drawings, fairly advanced concept drawings, probably design development level. So this is the design intent, and this is the intent that we would proceed with. So yeah, local materials is what we're after. I did want to expand a little bit on some of our goals, if I could, just for a minute. From a functional perspective, first of all, we have sort of three perspectives. Functional perspective is, as was described by staff, our entrance really is invisible. You can see it coming from Washington Street like that. But if you're coming up or down York Road, it's literally invisible until you get on top of it. So, and others can confirm this. We often hear people say, gosh, I've lived in Towson, 5 years, 10 years all my life, and I never knew Prospect Hill was there. So it's kind of a problem. From our families' perspectives, we really want to have a more engaging and welcoming entrance. A little bit of privacy is nice, and we get that. It's very secluded, it's contemplative, it's beautiful. But this is a celebration, a place of celebration for the families that have folks there. And then finally, from a community perspective, the public is welcome in our space. We have 6 acres of green space. It's really beautiful. That's a pretty unusual asset in the heart of Towson. So we are, part of our goal is to make this more welcoming to the community and say, yes, this is a community asset that we are very much willing to share. With regard to the entrance gateway concept itself, we think part of the American Rural Cemetery movement, we fall kind of within that part of the landscape architecture history. And one of the most important elements of those cemeteries was the entrance. They could be quite elaborate and signify all kinds of things, leaving the mundane world, entering a new space, that kind of thing. And we feel pretty strongly that this sort of an entrance will do that and be consistent with its historic character. So that's all I needed to say to enhance the application. And if you have other specific questions, materials, whatever, I'm happy to answer those.
Do we have any other member of the public that wants to speak? No?
Yeah, we didn't receive any public testimony for this project.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions, comments?
And I wanted to just confirm, I think what it looks like is a butler stone veneer on the wall and a bluestone cap.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And then I guess the other question I would have is just on the pin letters. I think generally they look better if they have some dimension to them rather than kind of being thin and flat. I don't know if we have purview over that or not, but I suggest that they have, some dimension to it rather than being a quarter or, half an inch thick.
Sure. Yep. Understood.
Just
Is there any lighting on as far as proposed? I see there's an existing lamppost, and I guess it's part of a series. I see that in the rendering, but not in the plans. So I just want to make sure whether that is staying and if you're adding more lighting.
No, we would not be adding more lighting, and that pole will stay. Yes.
Just want to make a comment. From seeing Prospect Hill years ago, I worked in that Mall 1 building right next to it. So I would see it every single day looking out the window with that. It's a beautiful cemetery. And even back then, these plans look great. Just a question about the landscaping aspect with the hedges coming out. One of my concerns when, coworkers and I would walk through there and all was the visibility aspect or what you're replacing landscaping wise. are they going to be, is it going to be a solid landscaping, or will it kind of improve upon that hedge where you kind of don't even see and can tell that it's a cemetery?
Yeah, we're not removing the whole hedge. We're only removing enough to accommodate the new gateway. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that makes sense too, because like you said, I mean I fully agree. People drive by there, and most of the time you miss it. You try to park in the parking lot that's a little bit further by. It used to be a bank. I think it still might be a bank or unit, but yeah, just as far as a personal comment on this, it's needed. It's a long time coming, so it looks good.
Great, thank you.
And I have Miss Carol Knott, the president of Prospect Hill Cemetery. She's available to make a comment. Miss Knott, I have you unmuted.
Thank you very much. I just have a brief comment to make about the pin lettering. We have an area of the cemetery called Babyland in the lower section where over 100 stillborn babies and toddlers are buried. And several years ago, we refurbished that area and added black pin letters, the same style, and I believe a very similar font to what we're proposing for the front entrance. And the pin lettering at Babyland was approved, submitted and approved by your commission. So we're keeping the style the same. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Miss Knott.
Any other comments from the commission? Do we have someone that would like to make a motion?
I would move that we approve the proposed gateway, confirming that the veneer of the wall is a butler stone with the bluestone cap materials, and we approve it as proposed.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Could we do a roll call, please?
You're muted.
I'm sorry, could I have Scott, please?
Yes.
Great. Ed?
Yes.
Phoebe?
Yes.
Vince?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Lily?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Great. And could you remind me who our second was?
It was Dan.
That was me,
Was it Tom?
actually.
Or Tom? Okay.
Tom.
Oh,
Not
great.
me this time.
Great, thanks so much.
All right. I think that ends our meeting for tonight.
I had one question regarding the Towson High Technical Committee from the last meeting. Was there any report on that, or are they still meeting?
We met yesterday, so
Okay. So no report written up yet.
Not yet. Hopefully tomorrow, and it will be circulated.
Okay,
And if we
thank
need
you.
to, we can bring it up at our September meeting
Yeah.
if needed in our other business
Okay.
to discuss that.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding it was just advisory, that there wasn't anything for us to meet on again. But I guess if they did change the materials, then that would have to come before us again.
We looked at materials. There was a small minor change that they liked better after seeing the materials because the colors were different than on the rendering. So it made it look a lot nicer to see those colors, but nothing crazy. Like they changed the plans that staff could just look at them to make sure they match the recommendations or the thoughts of our technical committee.
Okay.
So they wouldn't have to come back to us.
Okay.
I know they're on a timeline.
Yeah.
For construction. So
Yes. No, I know there are many people in my community who are anxious to see that get started and move along and want no delays.
All right. Just a reminder that we will not have a meeting in August. Our next meeting will be in September, on September 12th. And I look forward to seeing you all there, and have a great rest of the summer. Are there any other comments or items for the commission? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. So all in favor, raise their right hand. Any opposed?
No.
All right, we're done for the night. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great
Good
summer, everyone.
summer. Thank you.
Take care.